Now, here, let me try to find the positive spin. The Islanders getting the number 1 overall pick. There is no positive spin. That is disgusting. It is gross. The only good thing about Utah moving up to 4 is that it's not in your division, I guess, if you want to look for a positive. But this is brutal. So, okay, Chicago gets number 3. Nashville gets number 5. Flyers get number 6. All right, so if you're trying to figure out what's happening and how it happened and all that, Utah did not have the ability to move up to number 2 because of their pre-draft lottery standing. So Utah was so far down, the best they could do was move up 10 spots, which they did. And that locked them in at number 4, which means there was no team that they couldn't move up to number 2. So they got to number 4, which means San Jose, by virtue of their finishing at the end of the season, they are number 2. And then I don't know why they didn't fill it in, but Chicago then should be number 3, Utah number 4. It'll be Nashville at number 5. The Flyers will draft at number 6. So you end up in a situation where it is not ideal at all, but it still gets you in that top tier or that second tier before the bottom falls out. In theory, the Flyers could get a very good player at number 6. They are certainly not going to be getting Michael Misa. They are certainly not going to be getting Matthew Schaefer. So there goes your 1C and your 1D, at least in terms of the 2 best players at those positions. You're going to have some combination. I mean, let's see. I mean, if we look at it from the perspective of where a bunch of people had them. Actually, you know what? I saved the draft order from earlier today. Hold on. Let's go over here. This is what happened earlier today when I ran the simulation. The Islanders jumped up to number 2. What ended up happening in reality is the Islanders went all the way up to number 1, and it also had Seattle jumping high. Instead, we saw Utah move from 14 to 4, and so here we are. Let's see. Did they update this, I assume? Yes. So the Islanders moved up 9 spots. San Jose goes down 1. Chicago goes down 1. Utah moves up 10. Nashville moves down 2. The Flyers move down 2. Like we talked about earlier on the show, earlier today, there was a very good chance the Flyers could move down 2 spots. Does it suck? Indeed it does. What's the best way to put this? It's not great, but there's still a chance of getting a really good player. Now, I will automatically refute one of the points that I can already hear some of the people that I've had to argue with all year. There are going to be people who are going to say, this just proves that losing doesn't matter because you're going to see teams jump. And I will simply point out that this is quite the anomaly. I cannot recall the last time that 2 teams moved up 9 or more spots in a draft lottery. So that is incredibly rare. And the other thing I'll point out is, so San Jose tanked this year. San Jose was absolute dog shit this year. Where did San Jose move? Oh no, from 1 to 2, which means that they are still probably going to end up with Michael Misa out of all of this. Chicago actively tanked. Oh no, they moved down 1 spot. They will still get a very, very good player at number 3. Neither of them are going to pick number 1 overall. They're not missing out on a Gavin McKenna. They are not missing out on a Connor McDavid, a Sidney Crosby, an Alex Ovechkin. They're missing out on a very good player, a probable number 1 defenseman to be in Matthew Schaefer. But Chicago now is going to probably have their choice of Porter Martone, James Higgins, Anton Frandl. I don't imagine they're going to go after like a Denoye, an Eklund, or a McQueen at 3. But like, this doesn't change anything. This is, once again, yeah, you don't necessarily get guaranteed one of the top spots in the draft, but San Jose still gets a top 2. Chicago still gets a top 3. Your team, your town, your Philadelphia Flyers, they won some games late. It doesn't really change that much. If you really want to be super, super pissed off with the new coach bump and the wins that the Flyers picked up, some of those points they picked up late in the season, and you want to make the argument that they should have been where Nashville was, and now instead of picking 5, they're picking 6, you can. I think that you'd be out of your mind. Again, go back to the season. You had no chance of catching Chicago or San Jose. It wasn't going to happen. And in fact, and in fairness, the best that the Flyers could have hoped to get was number 4. And they did, and they're still going to finish in that top tier. And now it comes down to this. Are the Flyers going to be able to figure out who the best player is at 6? Are we going to find the potential gem, the guy who falls? Is there going to be a player that's going to fall? Misa's not going to fall. Could a Hagens fall to you at number 6? And if he does, you've gotten a hell of a lot of value.